Ladies and gents, welcome back. Jagmeet Singh making mouth noises in Ottawa over David Johnston, asking the man to step down from his position as special rapporteur, the position he was put into by Justin Trudeau. A clear conflict of interest, seeing that David Johnston was a member up until the moment that people realized he was a member of the Trudeau Foundation and, well, a neighbor, ski buddy, and childhood friend of the Prime Minister himself. But will Jagmeet Singh actually put anything on the line? Spoiler alert, no. But let's get into this story here. This Liberal government's approach to foreign interference has been a failure, says Jagmeet Singh, and he's calling for Special Rapporteur to step down.
This Liberal government's approach to foreign interference has been a failure. The Prime Minister decided to bring in a special rapporteur, which was a mistake. He should have launched a public inquiry. Now the appearance of bias is so strong that the special rapporteur can no longer continue to do his work. So will the Prime Minister do the right thing and remove the special rapporteur from his position and restore Canadians' confidence in our electoral system?
The right honour.
No, he will not. He will not. I'm going to save the breath of the Prime Minister. He says a bunch of platitudes. No, he will not. But the Conservatives are actually calling on Jagmeet Singh to break their alliance with Trudeau, the not so much of a coalition that they have. The promise of keeping confidence in Parliament and not springing for an election. They made these calls here as they were speaking about, well, just how bad things were at the time during the election for people in Canada at the hands of the Chinese government.
Worst of all, the people who are the greatest victims of this are Canadians of Chinese origin, who've come here to build this country, who come here to escape tyranny and embrace freedom, who follow the law and contribute to our country every day and in every way. And yet, their government in this country has done nothing to protect them from the government in the country they left behind. We have the stories told to members of Parliament in our caucus who went on doorsteps during campaigns to meet people who were in tears, people who told them that they had to leave the doorstep and go to a faraway field somewhere with their phones left behind because they were worried they were being tracked by a foreign government, worried that their families could be harmed, worried that acts of intimidation or even violence could happen to them here on Canadian soil. And still, the government has not set up a foreign influence registry that could help us identify the thugs that carry out this intimidation. Still, this government has refused to bring in tougher laws to shut down all foreign-controlled police stations. And still, this Prime Minister has failed to call the public inquiry that is required. We call on the NDP to set a condition that if there is no public inquiry, that the NDP will break the coalition and stand up for Canada and Canadians for once. These Canadians who are attacked by this foreign government, these Canadians of Chinese origin, they are patriotic Canadians. They deserve the protection of their government. These are our people. This is our land. This is our country. This is our home. Thank you.
Strong words here by Pierre Poilievre. And well, here it is. Here is a perfect opportunity for the NDP to step up and say, hey, we're going to put some weight behind what we're saying in our rhetoric in Ottawa. Well, is it rhetoric or is it just, is it rhetoric? Is it just rhetoric? And that's the question here. And it turns out, well, that seems to be the case. It's deal's a deal, the Jagmeet Singh tells reporters, vows never to renege on pact to keep Justin Trudeau in office until 2025. Regardless, there is not a threat. Regardless, there is not a threat here, he says. There's not a threat here. There is absolutely a threat. Allegations and this is from the Blacklock Reporter, allegation that cabinet ignored misconduct by foreign agents will not alter New Democrats' pledge to support the Prime Minister until 2025. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says yesterday to reporters withdrawing his support and triggering a snap election made no sense. said Singh. I don't see how it is logical. Unreal. Andrew Lawton saying on Twitter, I always thought Canadian comedy was lame, but Jagmeet Singh, this guy is hilarious in this CBC article where Singh says he won't force an election until confidence is restored in the electoral system. Hey, how do we deal with a situation where we have no confidence in government? Well, how can we have an election if we can't have confidence in the electoral system, he says. Well, how about we have an election and we keep a close eye on it this time? That might be a good idea, but this is not the thoughts of Jagmeet Singh here. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is dismissing calls to end his party's deal with the Liberals, saying confidence must be restored in the electoral process before he makes any decision that could send Canadians to the polls. Wow. I would question the approach of creating the conditions for an election or triggering an election as not serious about protecting our democracy, Singh said Tuesday. A lot of people would say he's not serious about looking into an inquiry if he's not threatening the sitting prime minister with losing his power. Now, he knows full well that, the popularity is sliding with the Prime Minister of Canada. If we went into an election today, it looks like we would end up in a conservative government. Whether that would be a minority, which it likely would be, it would still be a conservative government with the NDP actually growing in popularity as of recent times. Former Governor General David Johnston, now Special Rapporteur on Foreign Interference, published a report last Tuesday that probed the extent of foreign interference by China's last two federal elections. Last week, Johnson controversially recommended that the government not move forward with a public inquiry, citing sensitive nature of the intelligence an inquiry would have to examine. Most people saying, well, it's not about the sensitive nature. I think it's more about the sensitive nature towards his ski buddy and childhood friend. Both Singh and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre disagreed with that decision and continued to demand that the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called for a public inquiry. But Singh is not really willing to put any sort of weight behind it. Here he is responding to reporters saying, why don't you end your coalition?
How serious is your threat then to ask David Johnston to step down as Special Rapporteur if you're not going to follow through with pulling the plug on the confidence and supply agreement?
What we're doing is we're forcing this government, with a vote, we're forcing Parliament to decide on whether or not Mr. Johnston should continue. I think that's a serious question. Given the clear appearance of bias, we are putting before Canadians that it is no longer useful to have Mr. Johnston in that position, given the clear appearance of bias. It's not going to restore confidence in the electoral system. So we're going to push for that. But I would question the approach of creating the conditions for an election or triggering an election as not serious about protecting our democracy. If we want to protect our democracy, I would think the approach should be, let's put in place new measures. What are the new steps to protect against foreign interference? What are the new steps that are going to be taken to ensure that nomination meetings aren't being influenced, that MPs aren't being influenced? I would like to see a series of steps being taken, and that to me would show some real seriousness about protecting our electoral system. If it's just about a game to trigger an election, then sure, Mr. Poilievre's approach is tear it all down, have an election. I actually don't think this is a game. I think this is serious. I want to make sure that there are steps in place, that there are recommendations being followed that actually reinforce our democracy. Because for me, I want to see people believe in voting. I want to see people confident in voting. And I want to restore Canadians' confidence in that. It's not about a game for me. I want to continue to fight for a public inquiry because it's the right thing to do to give Canadians the answers to questions. But I don't see how it's logical, if the goal is to protect our democracy, to then trigger an election when we're worried about foreign interference. That doesn't seem logical.
It is a game when everyone is concerned about the integrity of these bodies and their investigations into this. We want Canadians to be able to make this decision for themselves, and a lot of people saying that as well. Norman Spector saying on Twitter, all that needs to be said about the public inquiry has been said by the Globe. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says his party will use our tools to push for an independent public inquiry into China's election meddling. He should reach for the closest one at hand, scrapping his parliamentary alliance with the Liberals as a clear warning to the government that it cannot continue to ignore the will of the parliament. Mr. Singh should remove that security by ending his alliance, thereby increasing the pressure on the Liberals to launch a formal public inquiry. Such a move would not trigger an election. The Liberals would continue to govern, but with the minority mandate they won in 2021, rather than a quasi-majority they have enjoyed over the past year. And I've said this many times, that NDP voters are kind of split into two camps. They're actual people who believe in the NDP platform, but they're also disaffected Liberals who vote for the NDP because they will not vote for the Conservatives, but they vote for the NDP out of protest for what the Liberals are doing, giving a split or a minority government so that they don't have a mandate to govern. In fact, Jagmeet Singh is reneging on that deal, and he's giving all the power to Justin Trudeau himself. Marty Up North saying on Twitter, if Jagmeet Singh was a man of integrity, he would hold Trudeau accountable and defeat the Liberal Party. Chinese interference, rising violent crimes, out of control spending, mortgage foreclosures, record inflation. It's all on him and Trudeau. It's the two of them together. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this situation. Will Jagmeet Singh bow to public pressure to end this deal, or do you think he's going to hang on to this because he wants to keep the Liberals in power until at least 2025? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.